My apologies, sir.
Oh,
Hi. We'll call this 5 o'clock meeting to order, and we're here to discuss and review the school accountability letter grades and project-based learning presentation.
All right. So, I believe it was a week ago that this new model got approved, but we are already being held accountable to it. So this year, the 25-26 school year, will be our baseline year for this new model. We've been told about the fact that it was coming in for a while, but it just now got officially put in. So it's kind of surprising that we're being held to it already. Yeah.
Did you realize you don't have to stand up?
I thought you
were going to tell me you didn't have to wear a suit. Well, that too, but you can sit.
No, this all good. It's easier if I'm moving around. Okay. Let's do that. So the old model, if you remember, used to be almost completely predicated on your test scores. You know, whatever your iLearn score said, that was what your grade was, or it might have been for the upper grades, your graduation rate. We're called that. This is completely different. So why the change, and what does it mean? The change is because it didn't reflect student growth. It didn't have anything that was applicable to real world skills and career readiness. Okay, so I think when you think about those three things, that's good. Like, this model is an improvement because it does take other things into account. So the old A to F, standardized test scores, graduation rates, focused on proficiency. It almost didn't get passed because the Todd Rapita almost declined it. So no, I'm not going to pass this because he felt like we needed more testing included in the letter grade. I'm glad they didn't do that because the main component is still testing, but it adds additional factors that can help improve your score. And those things are career skills, work-based learning. There's a whole slew of them we'll see here in just a minute. So the new accountability model is academic mastery, which would be your test scores, or growth, which we still haven't been told exactly how they're going to determine a kid's growth for a full year. We assume they're going to take it from these checkpoints that they have to take 4 times a year? Or is it 3?
There's 3 checkpoints.
3 checkpoints. And so using those, you get a beginning of the year, end of the year. I assume that's what they're going to use to determine that, but they haven't said exactly how that's going to work. Because we know from here that a kid may come in 3 grade levels behind. We still get them up to grade level, but they can't pass the test. So in the past, you would get automatically dinged for that. Now you can actually get some points for showing growth. So that is, in my mind, that's kind of a huge thing if they pull that data correctly.
They're going to take it down to the individual student level for some help with that data.
Yes. I'll show you in a minute, but that's exactly how they're going to calculate this.
Steve, what are the things, the growth? What is within the growth? In other words, if their test scores are applicable, then how do you determine growth? What is growth? What's it?
So that would say at the beginning of the year, we take a test and it shows that I am reading at a first grade level. At the end of the year, I'm reading at a second grade and 3-month level. So I've increased a year, but I haven't passed either.
I got you. Okay.
So now I can get credit for at least having first grade. Work ethic, they call it work ethic, but what that means is your kid can earn points for being here 94% of the time. So that if they miss 10 days, now they've blown it. And they do not get those points. There's communication and collaboration, and civic and financial literacy.
How do you measure engagement?
Being here.
Well, that's just part of being here.
They use these words. I'm not sure on some of these how they are going to gauge that on this, other than just using straight statistics like attendance. I don't know how you would do engagement.
What's our average, how do I ask this question? What's our average student attendance?
50%.
How much?
50% of our kids have reached 94% attendance rate, which is terrible.
That is.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
So we're not getting any help.
But based on what you just told us, it's better than our teachers.
So,
That's something I'm not supposed to say.
You're not supposed to say? Sorry. That's okay.
all right. So, we are going to receive an A to F grade. That's what we used to do, right? When we used to, I think in 2019, 2020, we were an A school at the high school. That's where I was involved, so remember that. So you still have your test performance, attendance, diploma completion, which now you only really get solid points if you get a seal. We'll show you that in a minute. The old days of getting diplomas, that's great, you get a diploma, but it doesn't really mean anything as far as our letter grades go. We have to get kids with seals.
What is the percentages?
Of seals?
Well, I was in school, 95 to 100% was an A. 90
Oh.
to 95. Now, then it was 80, 90 to 100.
It's actually going to start off fairly low for this first baseline year, and it will increase every year that the state averages beyond it. And I'll show you that here in just a minute. Okay, so here's what the characteristics are and what they mean. So your academic mastery is your reading, math, science, and social studies. Those are your I-learns. And it can also be the SAT, but that's factored differently. I'll talk about that later. Career and post-secondary readiness, credentials and experiences, that's the diploma seals. That's if you're ready to go to college, you're ready to go to the military, or you're ready to go to the workforce. You can earn a seal or a seal plus, and the school can actually receive money for those who get seal pluses, so we want that. And we get more points per child for everyone who gets a seal. Communication, oh, go ahead,
Question
sorry.
on that. Do the student have to choose whether they're going to go to college or the military early on in high school? Like how do,
Okay, so this is a point that we brought up. How far down the road can a kid get and say, you know what, man, I was on this employment path, but now I want to go to college. I want to get an enrollment seal. How far along do they have to, now I can't go, or now I've got to do extra work to get there. So we're going to start off everybody that you are going to have to get the employment seal. And then we're going to build from there for the kids who want to go to college or they want to go to the military.
For purposes of the grading system, do the seals carry different weight as far as points or credit?
For our letter grade,
for
yes.
us?
Yep.
So a college seal would be worth more than a work seal, I'm assuming.
Any honor seal counts identically
Okay.
because there are different criteria. So the seal that you're going to get if you're going to go to college is going to be more academically driven, right? You're going to have to take higher level courses. But if you want to get the Honors Plus seal for employment, you have to get 650 hours of work-based learning. You don't have to get 650 if you're in the other one. So they've just changed a little bit of how you get those. So plus seal for employment is not easy when you've got to have that many hours.
Right. Where does trade school fit on this?
It would be in the employer, or the
Employment skill?
employment was there.
See.
Work ethic, that's your regular attendance. Again, you see the engagement went away. It's just your attendance, 94%. And then the civic, financial, and digital literacy, those are all taken care of through required courses that every student has to take and pass. And I can share this with you guys when we're done. So to calculate your points, there's a chart, and it starts off with academic mastery. If you pass, you get so many points. So it might be that you start off with 65 or 75 points because I passed I-learning. Then I can add additional knowledge, skills, and experiences to add points to get up to 100. And that's how you build a child, like a whole child, rather than just a test score. Here's what one looks at. So they're going to be K through 3, 4 through 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12. And they all have different criteria. So you'll see on the left-hand side, the academic mastery. If the child passes I-Learn, they're automatically going to start at 75 points. Okay, so right now, a 75, I think, is the bottom B. So that child is doing well. Then, if they also pass I-Read in that year, I'll just tell you this, if they pass I-Learn, which is much harder, they're going to pass I-Read. They would go up to 95. And then if they would have an attendance rate of 94%, they would get those extra 5 and they would go to 100. But if they're approaching, they only get 65. Then they pass I-read and they get that, and so on. But if they do not pass, they start with 0. Then if they pass I-read, they're 65. So their highest score they can get if they don't pass is a 75, if they do all the other things correctly. So you can see, in the past, we would have gotten 0 for this child because they didn't pass I-Learn. But now we're getting some points because they did do some other things. Does that make sense?
So Steve, if they don't get to that certain number, we're not passing them on, or,
Not in 3rd grade.
okay, and that,
It's this one.
okay.
And if they don't pass I-Read, they can't get this last bit of points. It's dependent on that
Do
one.
you have a number of kids that we held back in this last episode that, was it last year or the year before when we,
It was last year. There weren't very many because the good cause exemption put some of the special ed kids through. And so I think there were just a handful of kids. And
So-
we're hoping the same this year.
So even if they don't pass I-Learn, they cannot get credit for attendance. Is that what you just said?
If they do not pass I-Read.
Sorry.
Yeah. Pass I-Read and meet an additional success indicator. At this grade level, they're not getting work-based learning or anything like that. So the only indicator for them is going to be attendance, which is that 94%. All right, so that's K through 3. And then we have 4 through 8. And this is the exact same thing. It's a little bit different because each grade level has a little bit different things that they can pick up. So I-Learn starts us off just like normal with your 90, 45, and 0 in this case. Then additionally, they could get attendance. They could pass social studies. I-Learn, what's social studies? Is that 5th grade?
Yeah.
And then science, 6th grade? So they could add additional points there.
Science
They,
is also 4.
What's that?
Science is also 4.
It's 4, okay. Then a 7th grader or an 8th grader could potentially take a high school course. If they would pass a high school course, which we are hoping that our kids will get 3 of, those go on to these extra categories as well. So we want them to take PE in 8th grade. That would be points. We want them to take computer science for high school credits. There's points. So we have the potential, even if we have a kid who's just approaching, to get up to 80 if they can even pull 2 of those off. Then you add your attendance. So
How are you gonna find time for these kids to take high school classes?
oh, believe me, Heather, Brandon, and I have met a lot, and those two worked out. We reduced the number of periods we have in a day because we were sharing teachers and we've got to move kids around, but they've done it. They figured this out, that I think we can get 3 credits for high school and middle school.
Really?
That's the goal.
That's good leadership at that level.
Yeah, they killed it. They did. And they worked together really well on this.
Is that 3 credits per year or 3 credits?
It's just the course credit. To complete the computer science course, the PE credit, they would get in high school. You only have to have 1 now. They've changed that. You don't have to have 2 PE credits anymore. You don't have to have 2 health. They've moved those back a little bit. So, again, this is really convoluted and crazy, but it does offer some potential for us to get some points we wouldn't have otherwise gotten. So,
And you get a PE credit for participating in a sport. Is that true at
Yep.
the middle school level as well, to get the high school credit?
I don't think that's the
Like, our
case.
kids have to, like,
They have to
legitimately
take the
be in the
class.
class for a semester, because I think they get the credit because it's IHSA. Like, it's a sanctioned sport.
So, but our plan is to put them all through it. We're sharing, like Kyle Murphy has, gone down and he's doing middle school now and helping out, so we're sharing people. It's been a lot of juggling, moving courses around, trying to find out our needs, and I think we got it all figured out, so. 9th and 10th grade, you'll notice that 9th grade does not have a factor of mastery. It can be, but the main measure is being on track in 9th grade, having 10 plus credits in 9th grade. because they know if you fall off, it's not likely that you're going to pass. So they really want the focus to be that you're on track. Some kids take I Learn Bio in ninth grade. We do, but others don't. Others take it later. So they don't want to make it as an indicator for ninth grade. You have to have bio, and not everybody does that. But if a kid is on track, starts off with 75, then they pass I Learn Bio, they're right there. Then they go over again, you got attendance. So as you start building these things on, it says advanced CT. So if they take an advanced course, could be at the Career Center. It could be one of Fonzo's courses in entrepreneurship, business. Those courses count. So again, lots of opportunities. You just don't want to start off track, because if you don't start off with those credits, look how, it takes forever to even get to 65. So those kids are not going to be doing well.
Steve, our juggling of teachers, and I see that we're hiring some more. I've always said Heather has by far the toughest job as far as I'm concerned. But my whole thing is the 7th and particularly the 8th grade, if their math and reading skills and their behavioral skills are on track, Brandon should be smoking a cigar with his feet up in the high school office, right? Do we have it aligned? Do we have some of our best teachers?
We pretty much now have all licensed teachers. She just hired a couple to replace emergency. As a Title I school, we put every emergency out there and hire a licensed teacher if we can. And so she's just added 2 licensed teachers. So I think in the corporation we maybe only have 1 unlicensed teacher now. So that is good. So she is putting the right people in the right place. So, and we need some of these kids to keep coming up with these better English skills that they're showing right now too. So that's good. Just have 10th grade. Okay, before I talk about this one, you can get, as a 10th grader, using this formula, you can get a credit for being back on track. So let's say that you've got 7 credits as a freshman and you're not on track. Well, let's say you go to summer school and you bust it and you get some, and then that next year you get your 10 plus credits. You get credited for, the school does, for you being back on track. So I kind of like that that's built in there, because then a kid doesn't have to feel like you got nowhere to go. The 11th and 12th grade, if you notice, it's mainly based on the Honors Plus, Enrollment Seal, and Employment Seal. Look at all the points you get if you just get that seal. You're all the way across at 100. You don't have to worry about any other success factors. So, I'm not sure why the enlistment seal is second. All you have to do there is get the attendance one. You can pass the SAT. You can get credentials of value, dual credit courses, pass the ACT. There's all these different ways that you can continue getting those points. If you get a diploma but no seal and you start at 50, you can only go to an 85. That's where they ding us for having a kid who does everything they need to do but doesn't get a seal.
How many do we have graduate from Ivy Tech?
We don't have anyone graduate from Ivy Tech. They just get some credits. We had 6 kids that are getting the Indiana University one. Is that what you're talking about? The ICC?
No, I just seen Ivy Tech graduate. There was a lot of kids from around here. I didn't know if we had kids in that program or not.
Oh.
Some of them got certificates. What's a
They went to
certificate?
they went to that Friday when you guys were gone. That's why Brandon
We had
was gone.
I don't know how many were there.
4. Yeah, 4.
Was it
3
4?
girls, 3 girls and
Okay.
4.
Yeah, and I just found out from Tiffany today, we got 6 that are the IU, where they get over 30 credits
Oh, wow.
for college. So we got that banner in the gym. That one's pretty awesome. So.
Good.
The 11th and 12th grade is a weird one. So this score is only 80% of the score. The other 20% is 10% graduation rate over, I have to look at the number again. If your school is over a certain percent, you get the full amount, and then it's a percentage on down from 10 to 0. And then the other one is the SAT. If 60% of your kids pass the SAT, you get 10 points. If they don't, then you have to do this formula where you divide it out and figure out what your score is out of 10 points.
Pass the SAT.
That's why I said it's so convoluted.
What does pass the SAT mean?
It means you have to get their marker,
A certain level?
Yep.
They're predetermined.
there's a number for it, you listen for that.
Is that 60% of the ones that take it?
Everybody has to take it, it's required by the state.
Really?
So the way it works,
Colleges quit requiring it.
some don't require it, but the state had to have a measure. This is the grading scale, and like I said, 85 is where we're starting.
Oh, my goodness.
Because this is the baseline here. So if a certain number, if 25% of the schools get an 85, which is going to happen, it's going to go up 2.5 points. So next year will be 87.5. Then that's going to happen. The next year, it'll be 90 in 2 years.
So just be careful, this is not a course grading scale. This is
No,
a
that's
school-
what I just realized when I said that.
Yeah, school grading scale.
I'd have been a scholar in this one.
Let's try. Yeah, it'll be at 90. It'll be the one on the right in 2 years, I'm pretty sure. But the way they do it is they take every kid individually. So every kid gets a score. You just add all those up, divide it by the total number of kids, and then that's what your school score is for that group. And like I said, in the high school, they do that, and that's 80% of your score, and then you add those other 10 and 10%. So, I like it, I don't like it. We're going to see how it goes. The good news is we can create some spreadsheets and start keeping track, so we'll have a good idea of what it's going to be.
Who's gonna do that?
That's gonna be-
We just have to create it once, and then we can populate it afterwards. I don't know if you've seen,
You can't get long enough. You know?
so Tiffany has a spreadsheet that she uses right now where she tracks all of that stuff, and it's insane how wide it is. She's just going to have to change it to put the indicators in there and track those more so than just dual credits and those kind of things.
Be a lot of work.
It's going to be ridiculous. The one that's going to be the hard work is if every kid has to get work-based learning, she has to track all those hours.
Maybe Marcia ought to stay around and help out.
That's what I was thinking.
I'll let you tell her. I'm not opposed to
But
it.
you think this is more of an advantage for us than non-advantage? That's what I-
So we know those test scores aren't going to come up immediately. It's going to take a little while. We're going to have those kids matriculate from Jake's building on up and start seeing some increases. But we know that right now, we got to focus on those seals. We got to get those kids in the right places to get those points. Heather knows in her building she needs to get those 3 credits, right? And we got to hammer attendance and work-based learning. We got to get kids in places where they can earn those hours so that we can add those. So at least that gives us some place to start where we know we can build points for the kids and hopefully, pay off for the school.
Do the parents understand any of this?
No, we haven't put anything out yet because it just got approved last week. Well,
The seals.
I'm just telling you, we've seen this so many times, and I'm not even sure that we completely understand where all of it's going to come from. I looked at the GPS dashboard today. It is so off. It's not accurate. So if they're pulling from that, I don't know what it's going to look like. Nothing is accurate. So they don't look at that.
On the work-based stuff, is that a paying job or
Could be.
can it be a volunteer?
Both. It can be all.
Either?
What they're saying is, let's say a kid works at McDonald's. We can't just count that as work-based learning. The manager of McDonald's would have to sign something with us and say that they're going to teach that kid to do schedules, to maybe run payroll, and learn those skills that are beyond flipping a burger. But that's a big ask of the community. Everybody where our kid is going to have to step up and do that. If we send a kid to Chrysler, they're going to have to carry liability for that kid. And what if we put them with a person who has been in jail 5 times? Maybe background check. I mean, there's a lot of questions that we have. We're going to try to place some kids here at school. Maybe have somebody work with Paula Boland, learn how she works food. Somebody can work in the athletic office, learn to schedule games. We have somebody in guidance. So we got to use the people we have here to also help get those kids some hours. And then we're going to try to find an app. There's one called Emblaze that will help the kid has it. Tiffany would have it and it'll help track their hours so she doesn't have to have a ridiculous spreadsheet for that. You know, and you got to remember too, every school in the county is doing the same thing. A lot of kids going out to get work-based learning.
did the math on that. At 4 years, for 650 hours, they would have to average for every week of the school year. While you were saying that, I'm like, 650 hours, that would mean they would have to do 4.5 hours a week for every
For 4 years.
week of their high school, of their academic time in the high school. Like, so you'd have to know from the first week of your freshman year till the last week of your senior year.
If they wanted to do anything else, they would pretty much have to work a lot in summers.
Can you count the summer hours they use?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
That's what they can give you.
Yeah, they have to, they have to.
Do we still, Steve, do we still have the deal with the charity?
Yes, but we're backing out a little bit because we did not get funding for that. We're supposed to get CT funding and they did not give it to us for chariot. So we're gonna probably go back to Vickers Center.
Oh, man.
So it ended up costing us to send kids there. We got no reimbursement.
Wow.
Yeah, now there's one kid that's still in it. We're gonna let him finish. We're not gonna pull the rug out. He's already been there over a year and he's been very successful. So we're gonna let him finish, but we're not gonna send any more until we get funding.
Well, I just wondered if there was any other businesses that we could talk with that could give us, maybe take 2 or 3 kids at a time. I know when Joey was all those years at the hospital, we had kids from here go there and shadow her. And,
Does that CDO class count for race?
I don't know if it does because
All they
it's an
do-
actual course that they get credit for.
Right, they actually go to businesses and be trained and apply.
Maybe they have their training hours.
Yeah, there's a way to.
I mean, maybe it's double dipping, but it's still training hours, right?
Exactly.
Most people are going to hire freshmen and sophomores.
Nope, you're right. That's where I said if we could be really good about finding places in the school for some kids, it
Yeah,
would be awesome.
but you're really looking at 2 years of work. Because the public will hire freshmen and sophomores.
Right. Especially if there's anything we can get by with. This group. Thanks. Did you guys have any other questions? And I'll share that slideshow with you.
Yeah, sports that kind of puts into the sport-based learning, right? They've spent all this time.
Unless somebody wanted to work with Addie, learn to tape, things like that, somebody wanted to go into athletic training, I'd love to do that,
What about somebody that wants to put, goes to a practice class together, something like that, would that count?
So it's a good.
Yeah.
I think so. Anything that's an applicable skill to the working world should count.
Right, freshmen and sophomores could do those kind of jobs internally
Yeah.
until they're old enough to get something.
So today, I finished working with our person on the grant that we're looking to get, which is a $3 million grant. We need that. So we'll find out in August, and then that would, next year would be a $100,000 we would get, and that would, a lot of that would go to this person that called us. And then we figure out our plan, and then the following year, we get $1 million. That'll put resources in place to help identify kids with interventions and all that kind of stuff. So, kind of count on that.
So if we have students that want to go into teaching, or we would allow them to, say, go in the classroom and observe the teacher and make notes and do things, we would give them accredited hours for that.
If we can figure out how to do that, what we'd probably do is come up with something a little more concrete for them to fill out, to share, to learn what they have to learn from that teacher, and show that they've learned it, to make it more like a course, I think, rather than just observing.
Can they get those hours, or if they wanted to be an administrator, follow Mr. Gleason around for whatever the period we spent on that. Or they want to learn about farming, and we send them down here to Bode, or,
Yep.
because there's all kind of things that,
Everything's on the table.
yeah, as long as they're learning about life skills or things that they might be interested in, that's what we're here to
Go
do.
hang out with DB and learn about electricity.
Yes, absolutely. We can do a lot of things.
I just think a lot of that would be if we know this is coming, because you have to think, everybody in Howard County is trying to get 150 hours, how's that gonna happen? Yeah, I think we could do a big thing with the summer too. Okay, there's bale hay season, there's soy season, you know, all these things with farmers that want help, or just how anybody could learn to be, you could get massive summer hours and it would still count, because all it takes is signing off on it.
Yeah, I mean, we got Hewitt, Tool and Die. I guarantee you, I can get kids over there if they want to go in and just observe or learn, or maybe.
Yeah, it has to be more than observed.
Yeah. So the only thing we run into, say you work at McDonald's, right? That doesn't count as your work-based learning. You have to do something above the normal. So like if they show you how to schedule or how to do the payroll, it's that extra skill is what they'll have to do.
I don't understand. You still learn. I mean, you're still serving.
No, I know.
Serving
Yeah.
people.
But
You're
the focus is on career, not job.
Well, they should have took away the wood shop, the metal shop, the engine repairs.
We're putting you back over there with electricity, so you need to speak up, buddy.
What about upperclassmen doing tutoring
You better stop talking.
of, like, lower grade levels?
Yeah, like I said, what we'll have to do is put together a list of things that we believe fit the criteria. We'll have to check on some of them.
Okay.
Some are obvious, but others maybe not. And we might
Does
just
the
have to
state have
a
somebody
session
that will approve those, or?
the DOE would probably, or just.
Every school's gonna have to do this. How many are they gonna hire? Just to review criteria.
All right, anything else, guys? Everybody good? No more questions? All right, we'll adjourn this meeting, and we will reconvene in about 28 minutes.
Oh, no,
No, come on, I don't think that's right.
we got
That's
our,
something else, right?
we got our kids over here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought they were here for the other meeting. I'm sorry. Call this meeting back to order. My bad.
Take this,
I'm sorry, guys.
This is for personal.
So we have a group here, so as you guys know, we do a lot with project-based learning this year about really getting in there, getting in front of it, and part of the project-based learning is bringing the community in. Well, this collective group from personal finance has come in and said, well, we want something, Mr. Gleason, we heard you say it before this, they have a whole presentation they want to give as part of their, getting out into the community, learning how this works, interact. So they asked, originally it was going to be just myself and Mr. Deschamps. He's like, we have an opportunity platform. We always encourage our students to have that voice. So they have a presentation. I'm only going to record them just so they can show their classmates, because usually their classmates would be seeing it, but they're not here. So I'm going to kind of let them, hey, Steve, I shared it with you in your email so it can be easier. So come on up here. I told them to dress nice, so look at that. Now
They followed your directions.
so they'll kind of run through it all on their own here, and they're kind of ready to get it up. Mr. Sean will wait.
Do they trust me to click through?
Yes.
Suckers.
There's an honest person.
It's a little bit of doubt.
So kids, it's always a great job to, I know you can introduce yourselves too, but it's always, what do you do at Taylor? What do you do? So they can kind of start with faces or seeing how diverse the group is. I mean, you just sprinted from practice and changed real quick, right? Are you down doing stuff with soccer?
No, he was a bit sister.
Sister at soccer, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna let them.
My name's Ava Phillips. I'm a 10th grader at Taylor High School.
My name's Sophia Delta, and I'm also my name's Solana Morissette. I'm a 9th grader.
My name's Jacob Mooney. I'm also a 9th grader.
We ask for all questions to be held until the end so we can get through this as quickly as possible.
Improving school attendance. Why are school attendance rates declining? After the pandemic in 2020, attendance rates have drastically declined while chronic absences have increased by 15%. School is not really viewed as a priority by most parents. Just letting their kids skip school because they feel they don't want to be there. And the main reason a lot of kids don't want to go to school is bullying. Most kids who get bullied don't want to go to school, putting them in such a mental strain, making them want to stay home.
Why is school attendance declining? Parents are not aware how quickly school absences can add up to academic trouble. chronic absences are 18 days or more. Warning signs are 10 through 17 days, and satisfactory are 9 days or lower. Many children miss 10% of a school year. That's almost a month per school year. Students who attend school regularly are more likely to graduate and find better jobs.
Attendance rates. Taylor High School has an attendance rate of 53% and about 350 students. Our attendance rate is significantly lower than the average of 82%. Heron High School in Indianapolis has an attendance rate of 95.3 and has about 940 students, as well as the highest rates in Indiana. This school applies the uniform policy.
Mental health in schools. Mental health in schools is a huge problem. School, homework, extracurriculars, sleep, repeat. That's what it can be for some of these students, says Noelle Leonard, a senior research scientist. This on top of being bullied for something as simple as clothes can cause stress levels to drastically increase.
How can we improve school attendance? Foster a welcoming environment and create a positive school where students feel valued and welcome. How can we do this? School uniforms.
Pros for school uniforms gives a sense of community. Rather than creating division between children by allowing them to wear what they would like, we build a sense of community and equality with school uniform. Safety. In the event of a school intruder, it would be a lot easier to identify them, for they would be the only one not wearing a uniform.
Student concern. We have asked around and most people say that they will lose their self-expression. How can we counteract this? We will have free Fridays, meaning you will not have to wear the uniform, and also have different options for uniforms varying style and color.
Facts about school uniforms. They can lose school spirit and increase bullying. A recent University of Houston suggested that this might be a good thing as school uniforms can positively impact students' grades, behavior, and attendance. Their findings show a rise in attendance, academics, and behavior of middle school and high school students once the school adopted uniforms. Everyone noted that the biggest improvement was among female students.
Our policy. Uniforms will be worn Monday through Thursday. Free Friday, meaning you will not have to wear the uniform if you don't want to. Spirit days and weeks, if you participate, you don't have to wear the uniform. Requirements for our uniform so far are skirts and shorts must be fingertip length, shoes must be black and closed-toed, and outerwear, which includes hoodies, sweatshirts, stuff like that, must have the Taylor logo on it, as well as the collar showing, so we know you have the school uniform on underneath it.
Who are community partners? Who have you talked to? Who would help? You had talked to Mr. Gleason, Mr. Moon, and Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union.
So this is a full cost breakdown. This is the cost for all students in the high school to get two of everything. So in total, for ties would be $1,125. Polos would be $2,880. Skirts would be $1,680. Same for pants, $1,680. Shorts would be $1,488. Long sleeve shirts would be $2,880, and for vests would be $5,812.50. But this is without getting a quote or adding any discounts that you get when you order in bulk. So this is just a visual representation of what we kind of think the uniform could look like. It can vary in styles and colors, like we said previously, but for the shirt and pants, it'd be $19.75. For the shirt and skirt, it'd be $19.75 as well. And then for the vest and long sleeve, it'd be $34.75. Also, if a girl wanted to wear pants with the vest option, they'd be able to do that. Same thing here for the boys' uniforms. So for the pants and shirt, it's $19.75. For the shorts and skirt, it's $18.75, and then with the vest, it's $34.75. Also, boys and girls can wear the shorts. I know that some girls aren't wearing skirts; they prefer shorts, so they can do that too.
How do we get the money back? School uniforms for the whole school would not be cheap. So how can we get the money back? Here are our ideas. You could charge us. Make it a mandatory fee. If you would like to attend Taylor, you would have to pay the uniform fee. Fundraising. We could get support by fundraising. People in our community do like to help.
Average back-to-school shopping. The average price spent on back-to-school clothes for one kid averages around $400. our average uniform price for one uniform set is $25. Needed back to school supplies. Kids will come to school and they won't have pencils or pens or anything that they need, but they'll have a nice cool outfit or the most trendy shoes. Parents will be able to spend that money that they would not be spending on outfits to get the needed back to school supplies.
In 30 days, we would have the uniforms picked out and have the uniforms ordered. In 60 days, we will have the uniform rule in action.
In 90 days, school attendance rates at Taylor will go up, bowling rates at Taylor will go down, and kids will feel they have a sense of community.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. Have you talked to other students?
We have. Majority are a little apprehensive about it. They don't really know how they feel about it. When we bring up like the free Fridays, they definitely feel like, okay, like I could see that, or you know, like like during Spirit Weeks, if you participate in a Spirit Week, like we do pink outs from a Shiner. If you wear pink, you don't have to wear the uniform. Also, like the different colors. I know that Mr. Moon has brought up before how we think it'd be cool to have every grade have a different color of tie. I mean, I definitely feel like there are ways to get more people on board, but we have talked to some kids, and it's just kind of a mix depending on who you're asking.
Have you talked to any parents?
Not yet, no.
Because we really looked into this seriously about 12 years ago. We got a lot of pushback. So I'm just curious. I mean, I love the idea personally. I think it's great.
So girls, especially you said it affects you more. You guys told me a story about someone makes a comment about this or that, and what ends up happening then to that outfit?
Put that shirt away.
Will you kind of tell the story, Sophia? Will you kind of tell the story?
Oh, well, like, you spend like a bunch of money, a bunch of time picking out stuff that you personally like, and then you go to school and somebody's like, oh, that's a good thing. And then you just put it in your closet, you never get it out, and it's just a waste, really.
How do the boys feel about wearing ties?
I mean, we've actually had more pushback from the girls about wearing ties than we have for boys. But all the guys that we've asked are kind of like, oh, I think it'd be cool to wear something like that. The girls are definitely more not a big fan of the idea than the boys, but the boys seem fine with it.
What kind of repercussions would there be when somebody shows up out of uniform?
So we've been thinking about this. Obviously, it'd be really up to like Mr. Gleason and Mr. Moon and stuff like that. But I feel like it'd probably be like, oh, if you don't wear the uniform, you either have to go to ISR for the day or have a parent bring the uniform for you. And then like if it continues to happen, a meeting would have to happen.
And do you think 2 uniforms would be sufficient for laundry day? Thinking of that, 5 days a week.
It's up to you guys. Don't look at me.
I mean, I don't really know.
I mean,
How much does each uniform set cost?
15 to
Like $25 to $35.
Yeah.
Like the
For a day, so
Yeah,
a day
yeah.
uniform cost, so even if you got 4, $100 is all. So
Correct.
I mean, you said average spending on back to school clothes
Yeah,
is
per kid is
$400,
$400,
right?
yeah.
So you're only asked to spend $100 if you get one for every day of the week.
Yeah.
You got bills
Yeah.
questions. Then you wash on the weekend, and you're good for the next week or something, right?
And on Friday, you won't have to wear it.
Right.
Yeah.
Why are you set on wearing a tie, male or female?
I just think that it will look nice. I feel like,
You're wearing one right now.
uniforms, like, we are trying to really push that, like, okay, like, the uniforms aren't gonna be, when people think uniforms, they think they're gonna be ugly. I mean, like, let's just face it, you ask people why they don't wanna wear uniform, well, it's gonna be ugly. But also, like, the fact for a uniform is to make everybody look the same, so we're trying to keep that in mind by also trying to let kids be like, okay, well, do you want to wear a skirt or pants or shorts, or do you want to wear a long sleeve or short sleeve? But I definitely think there still needs to be an aspect of like the same.
I like the whole idea, but I do not like the idea of a tie.
Okay.
For me, kind of with my background, I think it's a safety issue.
Okay.
Should 2 high school boys get in a fight and grab the tie, I just, if it came down to a vote, I'd say no on the tie.
And then just to follow up when the compliance aspect, if If it's a standard that's set and they know the standard is the standard, when we implemented the middle and high school with the pajama policy, we heard everything. My kid's not coming here, my kid's gone. Nobody left. Everybody stayed, and they all complied. And I think this is, and we've talked a lot with this group, this has been them planning for a long time. It's just that we're always trying to see what sets you apart. Oh, okay, they're doing this. Why is that? Every school battles these same things, the bullying, the attendance, all of this. They all may not report it the same as we do, but we know it happens everywhere. This is just one thing to feel alike when they go out. Some kids only have one tailor shirt and they wear it 5 days a week because that's all they have. They like that aspect. I even joked with them about doing a buyback program where I don't like it when you wear other things from other schools. Like, I'm proud of where we are, so I said, you bring me a shirt from another school, I'll give you a tailor shirt back just to not have it out there. But yeah, so it's the compliance part, but I think a lot of it is we've talked to is if they know it's student-led, student-driven, more students get behind that than, it's just people that don't know how we are feeling. It was really interesting to hear them all share stories about even if a friend group makes a comment about clothes that they wear, they never touch that again, no matter what they do. It was pretty interesting to hear them, but
Mr. Gleason, they showed us statistics that we have 53% attendance rate, 340 students, so on an average day, we only have 100.
The 53% is 53% of the kids achieve 94%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how they do the attendance rate now, which is a little wonky.
The only thing I would say, guys, is I'm really impressed with the presentation, and I'm even more impressed because of your ages.
Thank you.
I mean, it is impressive. But what I see is 4 young people that are probably in the top 10% of the class that are here every day.
I see you shaking his head.
Don't shake her. Well, what I'm getting at is I would say before it would come back to us, I would like to see you maybe have discussion with some more of your peer groups, and maybe even if we could get some parent input from all different. I mean, I don't know how to say this. Yeah. Anyway, with some parents, and I think we need to discuss that a little more and just see. And the reason I say that is we're struggling, and if this would go awry, and we lose more kids, or we have conflicts with kids just coming here and saying, I'm not, and it's going to create more problems. I think we want to make sure we're going to be reassured that this is a surefire thing. But it's an outstanding idea. It really is. All the years I coached, when we traveled, we looked alike. I think our travel team should all do that, and I think this is awesome if we could pull off.
And that's kind of where they've gotten some of it is they want to feel connected. They want to feel together, especially, everything with mental health nowadays that we're hearing more about. They just want to feel connected. They want to feel like, hey, I'm from Taylor. This is what sets us apart. We expect ourselves to be career ready, to be job ready, to be workforce ready.
Did you guys have the opportunity to talk to some kids from another school who wear uniforms to maybe even see when that transition took place for them, what happened? I mean, is there any way to
We definitely tried to set that up.
They tried to reach out to Heron and they didn't respond back. Yeah, they actually tried to reach out to Heron High School and ask what's going on.
Do they wear uniforms?
Yeah, and they have one of the highest attendance rates in the state.
Is that a public or private school?
Private.
Right.
Well, it's a magnet now, isn't it?
It's the
Yeah.
And they change it.
It's the Art Academy, right?
Yeah. I do have a suggestion. Take your uniforms and change the white to red.
Okay.
Because the white will get very dirty quickly. And in elementary school, because we went through this, our kids went to St. John and they had to wear uniforms at the end of the year as kids grew because they grow so quickly. We had a share plan, and you would go and you would take your stuff that your kid just outgrew, and the next grade coming up would pick those up. And so the uniforms actually went down in cost because they were worn by 2 different kids by the time it was over.
You have always been passed on the white shirt.
You're not passing anything white, no.
It's hard to get like photos of like uniforms like that, so we just whatever we found, we put
And
together.
we definitely that was one of our concerns was all right, what color did we pick? We just think that that type of style, the skirts, longer, the polos, There's so many different types of uniforms. It was really hard for us to find uniforms that didn't look very childish, because not a lot of high schools actually do uniforms that aren't like very private. There was a lot of dresses, and I was like, I don't think that would really go over well. I definitely think that it was a big priority for us to have like options for kids so they feel comfortable, because the last thing we want to do is make someone feel uncomfortable like while they're at school.
Very good.
Very good.
Very well put together, thank you. I'm extremely impressed. 2 sophomores and 2 freshmen.
Yep.
And they're not people that really run in the same circle either. So they were in a class and they got paired up in a project and they had to come together, and they were all on the same side. Even some of their group members that couldn't be here, they were on the opposite side of this, but they could see both sides of it. Like I said, anytime kids you do this, it's going to be whenever you're the first to do something. There's always going to be the eyes on it. So as Mr. Messer was saying, when you're the first to do something, you got to make sure you are prepared every step, because at one misstep, everyone's going to not look at the 100 things you did right, but the one thing you did wrong. So very, very well.
It change is hard, everybody likes to change, so if we try to, if we work to implement this, there are going to be a lot of pushbacks.
Yes.
So you got to be prepared for that.
But I'm all for it, so that's my
About the pushback.
Right.
Mr. Gleason mentioned the no pajamas. We had pushback when we restricted cell phones.
Absolutely.
We had
There's always going to be
every time you put any kind of restrictions on to try to make the environment more conducive to learning.
It doesn't mean it's a bad idea, just because you get pushed back.
Right.
No,
You're going to
great
get pushed back
idea.
anytime you make a change.
Yeah.
I love the idea, I told you that at the beginning, it's a fantastic idea, I wish we would have done it 12 years ago. 16, thank you.
All right.
Oh, 16 years ago, okay.
But Dennis and I were here then, I just
Yeah.
remember that it didn't take this much to get out, and the pushback came in tenfold, so it was like, ooh. So that's kind of why we tabled it then.
But I think that's a great, but you understand his point of a safety aspect?
Yes, 100%, yeah.
Because even though we haven't had any fights here, it doesn't mean we would never not, you never say
Yeah.
no, but.
And you don't have to have a tie to have a nice looking school.
Correct.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Be consistent, be unified.
Yeah, just call it
Well,
true.
There's lots of options.
options.
Yeah, it's just-
Well, it doesn't have to be around the necktie, they could be clip-ons or.
That is true.
Bolos.
Yeah.
There you go.
Good job.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
doing
you.
that.
Appreciate it.
Whoa.
Hey, you gotta be back, you gotta come back and fill us in on what you find out.
Yeah, so
We're not
hey,
done.
they are gonna, they will expect, to start next school year, what, some more research done, like what have you talked to, have you held groups at, they've challenged you now to continue on with it, so.
Take some surveys of parents, take some surveys of all the students, and see what kind of feedback you get. And then you can figure out how I react to that, what adjustments do we make. It need to make. And in your surveys, don't just say, answer with yes or no. No, because.
Yes.
I'm open-ended questioning.
And even put here's our price point, what you think as a family is a good price point for a family of 2, 3, would you have a max count in the school, you know what I mean, there's all things, but when they said about, Solidarity Federal Credit Union, they said, oh, can we put our little logo on all your sleeves and we'll help with half the cost, you know what I mean, like people wouldn't want to get out there. NIL deals just got passed, so here we go.
And Northview was talking about like buying something, like they said signs, but if you guys don't like, we can just talk to them about that.
So if you guys wanna do some surveys that go out to the community, to parents, you just run it past us. We'll work with you on those, and then we will be the ones to send them out. So it doesn't put you guys in an awkward situation.
And guys, remember, again, I'm so impressed because of your age, but you obviously are the future leaders of Taylor High School. As we try to change the culture, that's something that with Jeff and start changing the culture. But we just want to make sure that we got our ducks in a row, so to speak.
And they knew this is happening, they just wanted to get their ideas and just see in the next several years, is that their legacy they're gonna leave behind, that like, look at, we did this, but look at, you have 5 board members, and you get 5 no's. So, there's always a chance.
Would there be a way we could get copies of the presentation?
Steve he can share it.
Okay, yeah, that way if we have somebody that hears about it, since we're in a meeting, we'd be able to share that information.
Perfect.
And don't be afraid to keep innovating. you guys come up with stuff, don't be afraid to share it, bring it to us. This is impressive.
The next one, you know, we do all this stuff with Floyd's Design. They will gladly send us a couple uniform mock-ups and just to have it on hand, so.
Yeah, next time you come in, wear your uniforms.
Okay.
I'm serious.
In four different styles.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's good.
You guys look great.
That's it.
Great.
Proud of you
Thank
kids,
you.
seriously, proud of you
Thank
kids.
you.
For the boys.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for
Hold on. Come on, girl.
Anything else?
I forgot he likes soda.
Oh, yeah, one of those. That was impressive.
Proud of you guys.
Yeah.
One, Mr. Light Dope, who is perfect.
There you go.